Greetings, everyone. This part of today's workshop or the program is part of, again, the Planet Repairs Action Learning Educational Revolution. And we're here to basically listen to our communities of resistance. That refers to those communities who are in active struggle, resisting neo-colonialism, fighting the repression of the system, the increasing militarization, escalating imperialism, and what it's doing to hold on to power. So we join them not only in solidarity, but to listen acutely and think about how we can be connecting ourselves and what these struggles mean and imply us as peoples on the other side of the world who actually are very much involved in this global organization. We are joined also by our family in Edinburgh, who are at the University of Edinburgh, occupying the space and joining us to facilitate these discussions, to be able to actually spread this knowledge further and see again how we build this solidarity and decolonial practice into our work. And finally, joined by the indigenous community of the Otomi at the National Institute of Indigenous Peoples, also known as the INPI, which for the last 2 years they have been occupying in order to reclaim what that space had claimed to be for, which was for indigenous peoples. And that's Otomi, indigenous peoples in Mexico, make that space a place that is actually accountable to communities and people around the world. Just to picture that is a space that they're occupying in the heart of Mexico City. It's a massive building, and they've been seriously thinking about how to make these sites part of their liberation. So we extend our very strong salutations, greetings, saludos muy cordiales a la familia, and we honor them with our time today, basically to share and hear from them today. Please do take notes, but also think about sort of questions we have, because this is time for us to share in learning and think about what we can be doing to really build a serious force to stop the harm. And more than ever, seeing this as a chance for us to give that
Sí, compañeras.
Of helping, especially as the militarization increases, and these frontline communities are the types of communities that are really on the threat list for a system that is trying whatever it can to hold on to its violence. So we lend our ear, and we again welcome you all to Prela, and we'll now have our introductions from our family. We'd like you to introduce yourselves and share a bit about your struggle and what we need to know here, and it'll be translated by my sister Marina, also part of the co-coordinator of Prela.
Good day or good afternoon, because probably it's really late in the evening there, but here is daylight. It's so nice to be here with you and to be able to share our experiences with you. We know that there are so many struggles there too. Well, our struggle has been really strong, as I said before. It has lasted 530 years since when two worlds collided. For us, it's not like that. For us, it's the pillaging, the imposition, the theft of our languages, of our culture. Well, our struggle has been so long. We have been ignored. They haven't listened to us. All of our petitions and demands, which is our right as people, as native people. That's why we remain in this struggle. That's why we have been forced to take this. This is the Casa de Pueblos INPI, so we can demand the rights that we need and that we deserve as communities.
Bueno.
Well,
pues nosotros venimos luchando desde hace más de 50 años.
Specifically, we've been struggling for over 50 years. When our parents arrived to the city of Mexico, they migrated from our small towns. And it has been such a strong struggle. It's been ignored for all of this horrible government. For these communities, we don't exist because don't have money. They just see the businessman, the ones who just steal from us, who try to impose things to us, because it is an imposition when we don't want to leave our places. They force you to leave so they can put their hotels, their cafes, their mall. The struggle has been really tough, and we keep here resisting. They have forced us to take over this institute, the awfully called MP, House of the People.
Bueno, pues seguimos aquí
Well,
en la Casa de los Pueblos hoy, resistiendo.
well, we keep here in the House of People,
como comunidades y como pueblos indígenas.
demanding for the rights that we have as indigenous people. The community of Otomi, that we are original from Mezquititlan, and residents here in Mexico City, they keep not hearing us. They will always ignore us. And that's what we are living right now. We will always resist, and we will always defend the life, Mother Earth, because that's what we need.
Y bueno, pues mañana 12 de octubre.
Well, tomorrow, October 12th, all of us will say that we have nothing to celebrate. We're only celebrating our struggle, our resistance.
Not tomorrow, 12 of October.
We know that in this unruly Europe that also resists, that was never conquered, that keeps trying to struggle, we are also with you. We know that you are also with us.
Pues bueno, los invitamos a que nos.
Well, we invite you to follow us through Facebook as Comunidad Otomi, Community Otomi, in resistance and rebelliousness. We're going to be live streaming, so you can also see us and hear the native people and how are we fighting of the pillage of capitalism against racism, against discrimination, against the class difference that we also know that you struggle with in those parts of Europe.
Bueno, le voy a pasar la palabra a mi compañera que también.
Well, I'm also going to pass the word to my comrade, and she can tell you what we have been living as original people. As you know, the struggle is tough, but we always resist.
Muy buenos días o tarde. Gracias por la invitación y por invitarnos
Good
a
morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation and for inviting us to this great meeting. We thank you over here from the House of the People, and Flores. We know that it is not only us as originary indigenous people that fight the struggle. It is all different types of people and communities across. We know that they do have a struggle and that they defend their territories wherever they are. We know that you here from Mexico.
Y pues sí, como yo les comentaba, nuestros padres o abuelos, pues como dijo
Our grandparents and parents, as the sibling has said before, our parents, they thought that they would come to this city to have a better life, to have better education, and for them to have a better home. However, when we came into the city, what we received was pure racism and discrimination. Us, as originary peoples, what are we doing in the city of Mexico? We need to return to where we belong. because this, the city of Mexico, we do not have a place of belonging here in the city.
Y sí, pues ya pues ellos empezaron a luchar, pues ellos fueron la primera generación y ya después pues nuestros padres fueron la segunda generación.
Our grandparents were the first generation that struggled during the city. Now, parents were also the second generation that were in this struggle. And now we are the third generation that is in this struggle. Since we started this struggle, we know that we will not give up. We know that we will be victorious because we know that we are not alone. We know that there are peoples across the world that are in this struggle, that are struggling for liberation. In different places, in different geographies, in different contexts, it is not only us, the originary peoples, that are struggling for liberation. It's different groups across the world. What we say to them is to continue in the fight because we know that we will not give up. The government, what they do here, what they want to see us is to see us beaten down, that we can no longer protest, that we can no longer demonstrate, that we can no longer make our voices heard. But truly, we will never give up. We will not give up easily. If we don't raise our voices, if we don't do anything, if we don't build our world, who will build it for us?
Y sí, pues como yo les comentaba, pues hay que seguirle y pues como decía mi compañera, pues mañana 12
As
de
I was
octubre
saying, what we must do is continue the fight. We cannot give up.
que
Most importantly, we know that tomorrow is the 12th of October, because truly, tomorrow celebrates the 2 years since we took back the Institute of Indigenous Peoples in the city of Mexico. We made it work for us, the people. Now, since 2 years ago, since we
mostrarle a ellos que
have taken this building, now we have shown for the last 2 years that we were never going to leave easily, that we were never going to leave quietly.
no, pues igual nosotros le pedíamos
Now,
pues ellos no nos querían, vinieron los diálogos, las mesas de diálogo.
to demand truly that the voice of the people be heard by the bad government. Now, had some couple of negotiation tables, however, we received
Que hemos tenido o que hemos sido solidarios con los
about the true demands of our people. Now, please, we ask that you follow us through social media so you can help us disseminate and amplify what we are doing here, what our struggle is, so we can also disseminate and amplify what your struggle is. Now, they tell us that our fight may be partisan, but truly our fight is one for liberation from our, and for our ancestors.
Pues bueno, compañera Marina, no se nos pasó preguntarte cuánto tiempo teníamos, e igual ya rebasamos el tiempo. Tú dinos.
A lo mejor podríamos hacer como tipo preguntas. Voy a preguntarles acá si alguien tiene preguntas.
Sí, el compañero quería saber si todavía tienen ese sentir de esa conexión con la tierra de allá de Querétaro, de donde vinieron, y cómo es que siguen como relacionándose con la tierra y la defensa, digamos, de esa lucha.
From Walter Rodney, they're asking if they still can feel a connection to Earth, if they have a connection to everything else. The comunidad Otomi says that they do feel that connection to Earth, that they still like can cultivate corn, and even though here in the city they no longer get to cultivate anything, when you go to the rural areas they can still see the richness and the wonderfulness of the countryside. It's very different, the connection that you can get to Earth in the city and in the countryside.
Otro compañero estaba preguntando,
Another comrade was asking, how do you think people here can support? There in IMPI, there is always a threat of repression, but how do you think people can support and can organize the defense of this space that you have taken over? We think that you can talk about this and just keep up with the violence and the repression that the paramilitaries enact against us. It does seem that now all of the force that the state has, they're here just to repress the people because they don't like it. They don't like that we tell them that everything that they're doing is terrible. So it is very helpful that if anything happens, that you can just amplify this message, if you can march, if you can do meetings, if you can do that kind of thing in embassies, wherever you are. Here the comrade is asking if since you took over the IMPI, have you seen any changes that would benefit the people? It actually made the situation worse. They say that this is the fourth transformation of the current president, López Obrador. Repression has been very brutal against people. As you can see, Chiapas right now is sieged by the military. There's a very awful repression to commemorate the brothers and sisters in Chiapas. Even they have killed a couple of days ago in some of the small towns. They killed 20 people. I think between them there were some children. The repression has been very awful because the government wants to take everything from us, to prevent people from speaking up. That's what they're trying to do. They just put military everywhere in the city, in the small towns. Wherever you are, there's military. Right now, they have said that it's okay to go further. Imagine all of that power against the people. That's why we need to keep struggling, we keep fighting, we keep establishing solidarities.
Yeah, Spanish. Hola, hola. Sí, la pregunta es.
There's another question about how's the reaction and how have you relate to the Mexican citizens? How they support the resistance? How have you facilitated that dialogue? Where we're going through the same thing. The people in the city of Mexico, both of us are suffering this. For us in Santiago, we have been robbed of our water. Business want to take all of the water there. they want to sell it. Well, they have already sold. They are selling it to transnational businesses. But here in the city, there is Ex Bonafon, which has been taken over by the Comrades of Puebla. In this way, we have seen that all of this imposition, all of the power of the government and the governments from before are attacking all types of people. They are stealing from all of us. Whatever they see, there are natural resources, mines, anything that comes from nature, they want it. Now what's happening with the Maya train, they don't mind to just take all of the trees and just taking all of the oxygen and killing all nature. They don't care. What they want is just win and win more money and earn anything else. But we don't care about the money. It doesn't matter if we have millions of dollars or pesos or dollars. If Mother Earth is not good, we're gonna die with her, even if we have all that money. That doesn't serve to us in the future. We care about another type of future, the one that will come with the death of Mother Earth. If we don't defend her, we all die, but with all of the money that they're trying to earn.
No, thank you. Sí,
Gracias.
Sí, gracias. Sí, sí, muy claro. Y ahora tenemos preguntas from Edinburgh.
Now
can you-
we're gonna have more questions for Edinburgh.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing your stories. That's really, really empowering. I just wanted to know practically what you're using the building to do apart from living there. What happens in the building? Thank you.
Perdón.
Hoy en día tenemos hay una escuelita autónoma con nuestros niños.
Nowadays, we use the building.
Hay un maestro solidario que nos está apoyando.
Importantly, for education. We have an autonomous center that is teaching our children. But also importantly, we have a community enterprise here creating the Lele dolls that you can see on screen there. And we have a couple of Lele dolls that right now are in the territories of England, for example. Right now, the Otomi community is truly benefiting from that community enterprise of creating our craft. Because those Lele dolls are completely handmade. We also make a couple of other items. We really are producing a lot of arts and crafts, or traditional crafts. We have a couple of other projects in the pipelines, but for now, that is what we can share with you. Because also importantly, every other bit that comes with living and co-living together in one building, right? The cooking, the cleaning, all of the work. And now we're also organizing around maintaining the building itself and the structure itself. Because right now what the government is attempting is to take away electricity and water access within the building. And in any moment, they might take it away, but we are organizing ourselves to be able to adapt to that. Now, we must defend ourselves. This is a right that we have within the Mexican Constitution. It is our right to defend ourselves. And importantly, it is our right to defend the good use of good government that we are giving an institute that says that is at the service of us. Well, we have taken that because it must be at our service. But please stay tuned for more what will happen. Now, another important part of what we do here is using communication. Here, social media, personally, it is quite difficult. But there are very different types of compass who are very good at it. You know, communication, uploading stuff to the social media platforms, but also explaining the work that we do here. Now we have a group of 6 people, a comms team, a communications team, some of who are currently in school right now, so couldn't be here with us. But we are also organizing ourselves around getting our story out there, that we need the community as well to continue to organize ourselves.
Va una pregunta más.
Hi, thank you so much for talking to us today. Throughout these days, we have been talking about the concept of locality, making sure that our struggles are both relevant to our own communities and that we are in active and effective solidarity with communities across the globe. I was just wondering, what is your experience with coordinating with so many communities in resistance throughout Mexico and throughout the wider globe and throughout the continent? Surely we all have points in common, and we are all facing similar, if not the same, enemies, and have the same demands. But each one of us has different priorities, is in a different context. How do we make sure that our solidarity is effective, that we can be helpful whenever another community in resistance is in need? Thanks.
Nosotras y nosotros como pueblos,
Now, us as people, as originary peoples, we are part of the National Indigenous Congress in Mexico. And through that organization, through that institution, that is how we coordinate ourselves. This year, the Congress has 26 years of furthering the struggle of ordinary peoples across Mexico. Now, through that, we make use of truly communicating what the fight and the struggle of originary peoples in Mexico is. Through those channels of communication, not only social media, but also direct communication, all of that information from central circles are gone down. And through that, so that we ask for all internationalists who would like to contribute to the struggle and to be in the struggle with us, alongside us, please go through the National Indigenous Congress, because that is the main point of contact of how to coordinate internationally within our own people's institutions.
Ya es todo para nosotros. Gracias. Gracias, compas. Pues desde acá les mandamos un saludo muy fuerte y un abrazo como siempre, y vamos a estar, pues
Compas,
estamos
we thank you so much for everything that you have told us today. Now, I would like to introduce the compañero Miguel, who is going to tell us about the fight, the struggle in the Sierra Norte, the North Sierra in Puebla, against extractivism. A big hug, a solidarity hug to the Otomi compas.
Marina, ¿puedo agregar algo más?
Sí, por favor.
Bueno, pues para todos los pueblos.
Now, just to close, the Otomis would like to say a few words. Now, the National Indigenous Congress, to all zapatistas, to the compañera Marichui, we said that we are the people voice of all the peoples throughout villages across the world. So from here, we tell you, we are with you, we stand with you in the struggle that you fight. Together we will continue, because we want a world where many worlds fit. We want a world where we all fit. Now, we want a world, and we will achieve it, a world where we are not afraid to leave our homes, whoever we are, whatever body we have. And we extend our solidarity to all families right now who are being repressed, who know that their siblings are missing. From Mexico, we extend our greetings, and we tell you that the fight goes on against this monster who is attempting to devour us. Thank you deeply. Thank you for having opened the space and for listening to us. Thank you for being together with us in this common struggle. Thank you.
Compa Miguel, no sé si quiere introducirse. Y aquí estamos. Basically, this brother, he's gonna speak. Another brother, he's gonna speak from the mountain. Hola, compa. Ya estás.
Pues muy buenas tardes desde el corazón de los
Good
pueblos.
afternoon from the heart of Puebla.
Now we greet you from the heart of the Totonaco peoples in the Sierra North. Now we greet all the peoples
También decimos que para todos los colores del mundo, como los colores de nuestro maíz.
Africa, Asia, and all 5 continents.
We go with all of the colors of the heart of nature. We're all the colors of what nature has given to us. So thank you so much for receive our word, our struggle. We've been resisting for 530 years. When the white man and their horses came here, they went through the same places that I'm standing here. This station, like 30 kilometers from here, where they found gold. And that's how they built their first church. And they came, they stole from us, they tricked us, they killed us. They wanted to stop us, and they wanted to end us. But because of like our ancestors and their struggle, they decided to never leave. The struggle taught us that we can never give up, that our people, no matter how many diseases they get to us, because we are the sun, we are the nature, we are earth, we are all of the elements that life has given to us. We are men and women of resistance, and that's why we keep existing, and we will never die. We will crawl out of the stones, out of the rivers. That's all that gives us.
Donde empiezan a llegar muchas empresas transnacionales.
I will relate some of the struggles that happened when the transnationals came here, the hydroelectric projects, the mining projects. We have in 35 municipalities, we have petroleum, like fracking. That's why we're concerned, because we live of agriculture, and we're not landowners, we're small owners. And we already know what happens when they get here and they try to take the minerals from Earth. That ends all of agriculture. Hydraulic filtration does the exact same thing. If they do hydroelectric projects, they contaminate everything. That's what we're concerned about. That's what we're doing. We're working in our communities because our greatest weapon is to keep cultivating, cultivate corn, chile, potatoes. As I listen to the Otomi comrade, we want to keep living as people. After all of this stuff, we need to unite all of the peoples of Mexico and of all of the world to defend life. As the comrade was saying, for us, earth is sacred, water is sacred. That's why we defend the earth, the water, the life itself, because that's how we were taught by our grandparents, that we needed to respect water and earth. Here we have this book, sayings and myths about water. We're trying to recover everything that our ancestor gave us. My grandmother would tell me things while we walk. Look, Miguel. Today is midday, so we can't cross the water because the owner of the water is here at midday. And we needed to respect that. They kept us respecting water, that we shouldn't do things to the rivers. That's the wisdom that they left to us. That's why we defend the water, as the comrade said. We need to do it. We need to even give our lives for water, because without water, there's no life. And in the Sierra Norte of Puebla, they have tried to impose their projects, but thanks to the women and men that we have organized and articulated with other people, we haven't allowed them to do it. Not to project, not to fracking, not to mining. It's a very tough struggle because we're against all powers. We're against these big transnational businesses like Walmart, some Canadian businesses that want to take away our gold, businesses like Harley Burton, one of the Americans that wants to take gas and petroleum. We have seen it in a place called Papantla. We're concerned, obviously. But thanks to our organization, with other people, with a lot of people, when we started 2 years ago, 12 years ago, I kept crying because I felt so powerless. Now I don't cry. Now I do this with so much joy, with so much love to defend the earth. I know that there are so many of us. There's a lot of us. There's a hell of a lot of us, like all of you and other people. We can articulate and manage to defend life. We have managed to figure out over time that all of those who stole from us, who tricked us, and tried to tell us that we were also going to have money, because that's what they kept saying. We're going to build you highways, we're going to give you this and that. Those were all lies, and they keep trying to lie to us. They have been lying to us for 500 years. They have always done that. With religion, with politics, just to steal from us. They have never changed the way that they work. They keep trying to do the same. That's why we know how they think of us. We already know that they want to end us, but they will never accomplish it. Because we will keep existing. We will keep teaching our children, our grandchildren, how to live. Because we know what the roots of our people is. We teach them our language because the language is free. We keep cultivating. And we are trying to step away from more chemical things. We're trying to do more organic things to produce our own food. We're trying to get away from sugar. We're using piloncillo and panela. That's the idea, to have food sovereignty. So they can see that we don't need them and we don't need their food. I remember 50 years ago how we would produce everything. We didn't buy anything. We would take care of our own health. We would cure ourselves with our plants and the knowledge of our plants that we still know, but we're trying to recuperate it, the ancestral medicine and wisdom. That's our main tool, because we have already done it. I already remember that we don't need those things, that we can live without them. They have brainwashed us into all of their new things, that all of these pretty things. But 500 years after, we know that that money will only go to some of them. In our country, in Mexico, there's very few who have money. We keep getting tricked somehow. But now our people, all of the peoples, have woken up. The formula that they try to trick us with, we now know that we can work in another way. We know that even with what little we could inherit, we know how we can live. We cultivate gold, corn, vanilla, all of these things. That's our struggle. I don't know how much time do I have, because I could talk about so many other things. I have so much to share. I don't know how much time.
Compa, ¿nos podría hablar de cómo es que empezaron a resistir las mineras y las hidroeléctricas allá?
12 years ago in my community, the group arrives in Totona. In 2011, there was a reform from the president because the business people started connecting with the government. So there's said to be changes in the constitution, and like here in the Sierra, in the mountains, there's a lot of water. They started to promote the hydroelectric projects. There are about 12 projects in the Sierra. So first some Canadians came. They didn't resist very much because they don't know us. But then a group of Mexico came to my community, and as you know, they never respect anything. They came with their machines. I remember that it was 12 of December of 2012, but they never imagined that 8 brave women would go against the machines. And then a very strong struggle begins. We started walking to make our people be respected, because when they tell us they're gonna take away our water, as I told you before, for us, water is also very spiritual, because we are water, because that's how our ancestors taught us. So then a big battle begins, a struggle of 2 years where we walked. We did media broadcasts, we did massive protests, we walked across mountains, we walked across many valleys, we went to many places. And then at the end of 2 years of battle in 2014, the companies came and said, well, now what are we gonna do? And they invited us, other villages invited us. Carlos Slim invited us to speak. He's a millionaire known worldwide. He invited us there as well. But we also went to walk with our compas. It was a very strong battle against Carlos Slim. We went to a little village called Sauleco, where they had some Chinese people had some machines there. The project is no longer there, but it was called La Lupe. And yeah, we went with our compass to take them away of our territory. And there are many more projects. Right now, we're against a project in a municipality called Municipios de Tanclatan. The battle started in 2015, and here the battle was different because the project, they just came without even asking us. Grupo Mexico just came in. We didn't even have to sue them because they didn't have any consultation. In the previous project that I was saying, they did have consultation before. They had 3 permissions of the municipality, and they're all federal. For example, with water, the manifestation, the environmental manifestation, the one of water. There are about 6 or 7 federal projects. And in that occasion, well, we were very well organized, and we did sue the presidents of the municipalities and the federal government because all of the damages that they did to us. But because they plundered our rights, we sued the federal government. We sued them for the right of our territory, the right of a healthy environment, the right of our culture, the right for water. There were about 5 demands that we went against the government for. But as you know, as students, many times, even if laws are written down, and if our rights are in the Constitution, such as in the 2nd article, even if it says that we have right to our territory, or in the ILO's 169 rights, they all say that our rights are there, as well as in the UN Declaration of Rights. But if we don't really organize that these words aren't just in paper, well, then the battle cannot stay in the judicial terms. It cannot stay just in paper. It has to be simultaneous with the force of the people, and that's how we have to do it. Because over there with the judges, first of all, the first judge that we got, he said that our demands was legal, and that our rights have to be respected, because there was no consultation before the project. And before a project of a big transnational, there has to be a consultation, but there wasn't a consultation. But then they changed the judge. They put another very young judge, and he said, no, they're liars. It's not true. It's not going to happen anything to them. They don't need to be consulted. Plus, they claim that the business people also have rights. So right now, I mean, it's going better. About a year ago, in a municipality, they were supporting us. They took away the rights of the company, and well, that's how we're also learning as peoples how to manage the judicial part. We're not lawyers, but we're in the process of learning. And to put forth these demands, we need to learn our rights. That's also very important, to know where our rights are. And that's how we just keep working step to step. And now we're more knowledgeable about how to do these processes.
Compa, le quería preguntar, aquí hay varios compañeros que estudian Derecho. ¿Cómo es que usted piensa que podrían estar usando sus licenciaturas, su tiempo acá en estas universidades para también estar en apoyo a la lucha que están llevando? I'm saying there's a lot of people that study law. How is it that they can to support the struggle that they're taking? ¿Me escuchaste? Hola. Que estaba diciendo que pues aquí hay muchos estudiantes que estudian Derecho. ¿Y cuál es, usted cómo piensa que los que están aquí dentro de estas universidades pueden estar como en apoyo a la lucha que están llevando? ¿Cómo es que pueden usar su licenciatura o su tiempo dentro de estas instituciones para estar en apoyo a los procesos que están llevando?
Well, you're welcome. We need lawyers, because we also have many problems with our lawyers, because it's not an easy thing. A lot of the lawyers know how to play the game. They change one thing, change another. Because this case of ours, when the company starts to get their hands and starts suing us, another demand forth, well, this case got put through to a different tribunal, the colegial tribunal, and right now they're putting another judge, and we don't. So we definitely need lawyers to support us, so we can work together hand in hand and to learn from each other.
Hola,
Just speak into here.
sí, hola, compa. Gracias por su tiempo y por explicar un poco cómo ve esta lucha. ¿Cómo ves estas cosas cambiando en el próximo año para ustedes y para tu comunidad? ¿Qué esperanzas tienen o qué preparaciones están preparando para el año que viene?
Well, right now we have a lot of hope because we're very well organized at the regional level. We get together every 2 months, and in the level of the committee, we have meetings every month. And right now, we are a committee. Well, in the Northern Sierra Mountains, we're 3 organizations, and we're very well together. And there's a lot of hope because, as I was telling you, our struggle is judicial and in the organizational as well.
Sí, gracias. Gracias, compa.
También, compa, ya ves que ahorita están trabajando estos proyectos de vida. ¿Cómo es que va todo eso? ¿Y qué son proyectos de vida para los compas que acá que no?
The life projects is to sow the corn, the bean, the chili, all the basic products, and to stop utilizing other things. We're making our own organic compost. As I told you before, we're also producing panela. We no longer use the other types of sugar. We're also working about traditional ancestral medicine. That's another part of our work. And also, in terms of health, our dream is to build a clinic with the specialties in our own culture, where we have like a type of psychologist, but from our community, for there to have a parteras, like a woman who help give birth, for life plans, for life projects. That is some of the visions that we have. And also we're creating water communities in the communities so that water is in our hands, not in the hands of the companies, because if we have the property of life, of water, then in Mexico, there's too many water streams that are in the hands of the banks, of companies, and well, it's very worrying.
Compa, un poco como para dar contexto de acá, pues ahorita andamos en una universidad acá que fue, digamos, fundada sobre el saqueo de los pueblos y sobre esa colonización. Y queríamos saber si ustedes allá tienen demandas sobre estos espacios educativos. ¿Qué es lo que estos espacios que dicen que están haciendo el trabajo de colonial? ¿Cuál sería para ustedes, cómo es que ven un espacio educativo que trabaja en beneficio al pueblo? Para ustedes, ¿qué es un espacio educativo que trabaja en beneficio al pueblo y cuáles demandas tienen sobre espacios como este?
So she's asking about the demands of the education from the university that claim to be colonial. So he says, there's some universities, some schools that are working towards life projects. So, well, that makes me happy, but not all universities are doing this. For example, in UNAM, they invite us to the WAP, but they don't really work these things. But here in the Sierra, there's two multicultural universities that are trying to work the life projects, and there's a bit of consciousness of what we're doing here, but
Pero la idea también es como las demandas, si tienen como demandas sobre espacios como este, como ¿cuál sería ustedes?
If there's any demands for spaces like this one,
¿Qué sería una universidad que trabaja en beneficio a la lucha que están llevando?
what would be a university that works in benefit of your struggle?
La pregunta básicamente era
The
como
question would be, so these universities, the students that are within them, are there any demands about how students should work in benefits of the peoples? How can people within these institutions can really use this time in benefit of the people? What would be these initiatives that people in other locations could take to have a real impact in where they're from? Well, look, I speak to a lot of young people to stop going to the cities. I see that in the universities, they prepare the youth for them to be their workers. So I speak to the youth and say, hey, just stop going to the cities. We can work in our own land. People that are studying agrology, we can stay in our lands and produce our own lands. But this youth study and then just leave to the big cities. And the ones that study archaeology go to Canada. And we want this youth to stay in our lands so we can keep working together with all the people. But I can see that what is winning is the big capital. It's taking away our youth. They supposedly prepare them and then they leave. They don't come back. I mean, there's a village called Teclan here, and there's youth that is dug more. There's more life in that village where they stay, and we can see a difference. But in so many villages, they go to university and then they leave to Monterrey. They go to the United States. They go to Canada. There's like a drain of the youth that prepare themselves, and I wish that the youth would stay here with us to work with us, because then we can do a lot of things.
Creo que hay una pregunta de los compas en Edimburgo. People in Scotland, do you want to ask your question?
Sí, una pregunta acá.
Hi, thanks for talking to us. I wanted to go back to the resistance to mega projects and these companies that destroy land and rob communities of water, of forests. These projects really put communities against the workers that work in these companies. Do you believe there is a way to include these workers in this struggle as well?
Compa, la pregunta que estaba haciendo el compañero es que está diciendo que él quiere regresar a un punto a cuando estaba hablando del extractivismo y la lucha que están llevando en contra de los megaproyectos y las transnacionales, y quería saber, pues obviamente hay muchos trabajadores que trabajan dentro de esas empresas de muerte. Entonces quería saber si hay chances, si ustedes ven esa posibilidad de estar en solidaridad con los trabajadores, o cómo es que hay esa relación entre los dos, los trabajadores y también los pueblos.
Well, for example, the projects of hydroelectrics, there's no workers where they want to go. Where there is some solidarity with the workers is, for example, a Canadian mine in a municipality here in Texatan, and as when they finish the phase of exploration, then there would be workers there. So right now, the company, they took together the right of exploitation. So the youth that was working there, as well as the workers in the company, are quite angry. So there could be a confrontation. Well, I think right now they're behaving a bit better, because in other villages they have the engineer of conflict, where they manage to get village against village to people to have conflict together. And well, right now where we are, it's a bit better because there hasn't been that much conflict, but some things are walking peacefully. But in other states, there's so much confrontation because they have all the engineering to create conflict between us.
¿Tienes tiempo para una pregunta más?
Hi, thank you so much for talking to us. It was wonderful to hear that. I'm studying law here, and I was wondering if there's any way where I could contribute by either doing the research or whatever I can do from here to help the legal side of things. I'm sure the legal systems are different, but I'd be happy to do any research that's required.
Bueno, la compañera preguntó que, bueno, ella dice que ella estudia Derecho y a ella le gustaría saber cómo puede contribuir de manera tangible, que sea desde hacer, ayudarles con research, o sea, ¿cómo se dice?
¿Con investigación?
Con investigación, o de qué manera puede contribuir a su lucha.
No, pues bienvenida a la compañera, pues, ¿cómo
Well,
no?
compañera, you're welcome to the struggle. Of course, what we need more of is information about who's the company. For example, there's a project here in Zambulita de Pata, and the name of the company, we want to know where is the money coming from, so that in that way, because there's big companies, but they also have their weaknesses. So how can we go in through there? That does definitely interest us, how someone can help us to gather this information. And of course, welcome. If you want to come to the Sierra, you're welcome to come to get to know us and to know all of Mexico, because we have problems everywhere. So welcome to the Northern Sierra.
Thank you so much.
Gracias. Le gustaría también saber de alguna manera de poder contactarlos, pero tal vez eso podemos ya preguntarle a los compañeros en Londres. Gracias.
Claro que sí, bienvenidos.
Of course, yeah, no, welcome. We need biologists, everything, all the team, anyone that wants to come here, for you to come to see this beautiful land. Well, last time some youth people came. Well, Marina came here, and we went to a river in a little village, and in that river I was telling them that there was delicious fish. There's some animals that are like acamayas, we call them, but there's nothing like that there. So it used to be a paradise. So our responsibility as peoples is to become another paradise, not the paradise that has been damaged by all this contamination with the mining, with all the death projects, as we call them. It's a very long struggle. It's a very long battle, 300, 500 years, it doesn't matter. But we need to leave humanity another paradise like the one that was left for us. Because I remember that 50 years ago, everything was given. We didn't need anything from above. Everything was already here.
Compa, una pregunta más de este lado.
So one more
Quería
question
saber,
from here. I wanted to know, a compa wanted to know what is the way that there in your village you take decisions? What is the organism of decision making in the community, and how do you do that in that great territory that you have? Well, decisions are taken first. We speak what is our problem in the community level. And then when there's a wider conversation, then we do an assembly, a big assembly of 3,000 to 4,000 people, whoever wants to participate. We do an assembly. And decisions are made from assemblies. It's the biggest law of the peoples comes from the assembly.
Yo también tenía una pregunta. Sí,
So I had another question.
perdón.
What is the importance there of recuperating your language? Because I know that you speak Totonaco, and I think the compas over here, it'd be very, very important for them to know the importance of the language. So, what does Totonaco mean? Totonaco means 3 hearts. We come from the Mayans, Olmecas, from the Olmecans were Totonacos. So for us, the importance of keeping our language, because language is the roots of the people. And if there's no language, well, there's no people. So that's the force of the language from the all our cosmovisions comes from the Totonacos. So that is important why we keep teaching, our children, the peoples, the tongue, we keep persisting for thousands of years. We're some peoples from 40 to 5,000 years old, and we keep insisting for the tongue to be preserved, for the language to be preserved.
Ya están todas las preguntas y más todos le queremos mandar un saludo muy fuerte. I don't know if you can come and say bye to him so that he can.
So we all wanna
Pues van a
send you
venir los
big
compas para
hug.
que ver que
As I said, Totonaco means 3 hearts. 1 heart for you there to the youth. The youth gives me the force to keep going, and it's an honor to say hello from Totonaco to all the villages of the world. A big hug, and I love you. One day you gotta come to Puebla to visit us. The Zapata struggle continues. The struggle continues. The land is not sold, is loved and defended. The water is not sold, is loved and defended. Long live the lands that fight for life. Long live, long live. Que viva